Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patriots Real Time Podcast. I'm your host, Theo Diaz, joined alongside Zach Ventola, and today we have our training camp preview podcast. But before we get into that, Zach, how you doing today?
Theo, I'm doing great. Always love to talk some training camp. Honestly, my favorite time of the year. That first day, always one of my favorite days of the year. The energy there outside of Gillette Stadium, it's unbeatable. But how have you been?
I've been great. I just want to say, look at this background here. Shout out Riverside for um, telling me that there was a YouTube video that I could watch that would tell me how to do this. So shout them out. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Nice little voice crack there to start the day. But we had some news. I'm going to pull up the tweets because, once again, I figured out how to do this. But yesterday, we got some news on Harold Landry, who was placed on the physically unable to perform list, as well as tight end CJ Dupree. And then Terrell Jennings was placed on the NFI list. So Landry, a guy that missed the entirety of the spring with that knee injury that he suffered last year in week 5. Zach, are you concerned about Harold Landry?
To an extent, it doesn't necessarily shock me that he's on PUP to start training camp. I think I'd be more concerned in a month or so if he's still on that list, but for now, I'm not particularly worried about it just because he's a veteran. He's going to be fine with or without training camp. And obviously, having that injury is far from ideal, but it's not like a Gabe Akis situation where Harold Landry's missing camp and he's screwed because he's going to be 10 steps behind everybody. No, he's a veteran. He can miss time and he'll be completely fine. He'll be able to step right in and still be a good piece on this defense. Obviously, it's not great. You never want to see a guy injured and having to deal with that. And who knows, because again, a month from now, he could still be on that list and he could miss time going into September in the regular season. But if it's just a situation of he's missing training camp, but he'll be ready for week 1, I don't have much to worry about there.
Yeah, agree with you there. I am a little worried about how the production's going to be this year. Last year, he fell off a cliff after the injury. I don't know how old he is, but he's been in the league
30,
since
I believe.
how old?
I believe he's 30. I
Okay,
can
so
double
he's
check
30.
that, but
Been in the league since 2018. He was Vrabel's first pick, right? Yes, with the Titans. But I'm a little worried about the production. I've tweeted this out 2 times now, where I said that I don't expect anything from him this year. I really don't. I don't know why. There's something in my brain telling me if he gets a sack, just a singular sack, that's going to be a good thing. Just the way that he was so unable to play last year. They made him active, right? They made him active for the Super Bowl, but he did not have a role at all. He missed 2 of the playoff games for sure. So I don't know. I don't expect much out of Harold Landry, but getting placed on PUP doesn't worry or doesn't concern me. Just or isn't concerning to me. Just because I don't really expect much from him. But yeah, I think he'll be back for the season.
yeah, I don't know if I would quite go that far in the sense
Yeah.
of, getting 1 sack is a good thing. If he ends the year with anywhere from like 6 to 8 sacks, I think I would be more than content there. Um, if he ends with like 3, I think that's pretty concerning, especially with the contract that he has. So
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I think he will take a step back in production this year because of that injury, because of the age. But you still you can't set the bar quite that low for a guy getting paid that much, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
hmm Yeah, he's on a 3-year deal. This is year 2 of that deal. So probably too low, but just thinking about it and not actually putting too much thought into that, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if Harold Landry is going to contribute that much this year.
It's
But
fair.
moving on to another guy, the other guy placed on the PUP list, CJ Dupree, a guy.
Hmm.
This was the more interesting thing to me because CJ Dupree has a chance to compete for that tight end three spot. Last year, lost the battle. I think even G. Scott, who's not even here anymore, beat him out. But he's a guy that can block. He's a guy that is a little bit more of a receiving threat than your Tanner Arkins of the world. Was a pretty good player at Alabama. So, what are your thoughts on CJ Dupree and him not being out there for the start of training camp?
Yeah, I think that's one that I'm a little bit more concerned with than Landry. Again, as a younger guy, it's going to be tough for him to find his footing going into year two now, and not being out there for the start of camp, presumably, unless somehow he's activated, in the next couple of days, or maybe he misses only a couple of days of camp. But I don't see that happening. I don't see why they would place him on PUP if he's only going to miss a practice. But point is, that's kind of concerning for him, just as a guy who could have competed for that tight end three spot, still can compete for that tight end three spot, and also at a position where the Patriots really need some help. After Julian Hill went down, they don't really have anyone there, and even before the Dupree PUP listing, Mike Vrabel said soon after the Julian Hill injury, yeah, tight end is probably a position that we're going to have to address prior to training camp. So, and they did end up doing that today, but obviously it was already a position they had their eyes on. Dupree going down doesn't help their case there. That's a pretty substantial injury just in terms of depth. It's not a position they had a whole lot of depth at. It's a guy who could have competed for a roster spot, and now who knows what's going to be going on there. It's not great to see.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you talk about the depth. They have four bodies there right now. Hunter Henry, Eli Raridan, Tanner Arkin, and the guy they signed today, Mitch Van Voren, if that's how you pronounce his name. So it's not good. They need to add someone. Do you think, because you mentioned Vrabel saying that they wanted to add someone, do you think that Mitch Van Voren is the guy that they wanted to add, or do you think there's a bigger move coming?
That's a fair question. I don't know. I don't think there's a bigger move coming. I'll just put it bluntly because I think it would have happened already. What's the holdup if you're signing two guys today, and um unless there's someone who maybe they have concerns about in terms of needing to get a physical done, maybe that player couldn't have gotten into town today or whatever. Other than that outlier possibility, I don't see why that move wouldn't have just been done today. So, yeah, I would lean towards saying that this is probably going to be how the group ends up. And maybe that's because they know that the Dupree injury isn't that significant. Maybe it's something where he'll only miss a week or so and then he'll be back and he'll be out there, and that's someone that they could end up leaning on. But again, I do still agree with you. Like, this room doesn't have a whole lot of bodies. They need somebody else in there.
Yeah. And if we want to live in fantasy land, maybe we can say Jonnu Smith is coming. He already knows the offense. So why does he need training camp? And like I said, fantasy land. Uh, so yeah, I don't think they'll add another guy either. And it's unfortunate because Julian Hill was a solid ad. He was a little bit overpaid in my opinion, but he was a solid ad. I really liked the way he blocked when I watched the All 22, which once again, I've never played a snap of football in my life, but I feel like he looked pretty good out there. So it was unfortunate, and obviously we can't do anything about that, the ACL tear. But I think Tanner Arkin is going to be a guy that makes this team and has a bigger impact than maybe Eli Raridan. Because if Hunter Henry can stay healthy, Tanner Arkin's your blocking tight end, and Tanner Arkin is going to replace Thayer Munford, I think. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but because Thayer Munford's obviously an offensive tackle and Tanner Arkin is a tight end, but they had to use Thayer Munford last year in some of those run situations, and it made them more predictable because with Thayer Munford on the field, how many times are you throwing the football, right? Maybe once or twice they did that. But now you have a Tanner Arkin, or you wish you had a Julian Hill, but now you have a Tanner Arkin on the field. You can throw the football with a tight end on the field. So Yeah, I think Tanner Arkin is going to make this team.
Yeah, I that's probably where I would lean for now. I mean, really, that is a spot that is going to be determined by those fully padded practices and those preseason games. It's blocking. That's what they need. They need a blocker. Julian Hill was going to be a blocker. He wasn't going to catch a whole lot of passes. Maybe he would catch, 10, 15, 20 passes this year. He was a blocker. Tanner Arkin could be that. The other guys in that room, CJ Dupree probably could be that, but other than that, like you don't think that Jack Westover's gonna. I mean, maybe they do. They had him at fullback, but
Yeah,
I I just don't see him doing a
Jack
whole
West.
lot. So
To be honest.
I would have probably Tanner Arkin making the team for now. I think Dupree missing time bodes well for Arkin, but I mean, really, if you look at it, at least for now, other than the signing they made today, Arkin is probably heading into camp as the last guy in that room. So he does have to work his way up. That spot isn't reserved for him. That spot isn't going to be given to him. But I think that the archetype that he has is going to be exactly what they should be looking for. And yeah, I would say if I had to bet on it right now, I would reluctantly put my money on Tanner Arkin.
Yeah, it's a very uncompetitive room. Kind of look at some of the wide receiver rooms from the past, 2024. It's like Tyquan Thornton, sure, you'll make it. Jalen Polk, you'll make it. Javon Baker has the worst summer ever. Why not, right? And I
God,
guess he was
yeah.
a rookie, but a fourth round pick, which is a little different. But they don't have bodies. Right now, with Tanner Arkin doing absolutely nothing, he'd probably be on the team. So I don't even know if he needs to have a great summer. Now, if he has a terrible summer, I'm sure they'll bring someone in last minute because you're just not going to go into the season with a guy that cannot play. But I believe in Tanner Arkin. I'm a Tanner Arkin truther. But it's good to be talking about the third tight end versus the wide receiver one, like we were a few years ago. Is it going to be
Yeah.
Jalen Polk, KJ Osborne? Now it's the third tight end that we're talking about. But let's keep it on tight ends like we've been talking about. The Patriots signed Mitch Van Voren, and he's not going to make the team unless some miracle happens. He doesn't. I watched a little bit of some highlights on Twitter. He doesn't run great. Doesn't look like the best blocker either. Um, in all reality, he's a camp body. But he did announce the Dolphins' seventh round draft pick in 2016. So I guess that's his claim to fame.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully he's not working as like a double agent for them and but
Yeah,
yeah,
never know.
it's a depth signing at tight end.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
that's his yeah, I wouldn't say he has no shot at making the roster because again, look at
Yeah,
this
you're
tight
right.
end room. Um it's not looking so hot, but yeah, I I'll be honest, I haven't watched him yet. I haven't had the chance to. I haven't even couldn't find anything on him. Um, Other than I saw his numbers and they seemed. I mean, he was playing D3, but
Yeah, they were
he was
solid.
very productive, which makes me think that he's not really a blocker. Again, that's me.
Yeah,
Just I
he's not.
probably shouldn't. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be saying that because again, I haven't watched him. For all I know, he could be a dual threat type of guy, but they need a blocker, and that I would be surprised if that is the type of player he is, but he
Yeah.
fully could be.
Yeah, he looks like a blocker. He did have good stats, you're right. 33 receptions, 510 yards, and 10 touchdowns in his last season at St. Norbert's. St. Norbert. So that was in 2024. He didn't play, or he wasn't on, I don't think he was even on a practice squad. He was with Seattle and Cleveland last summer.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so it's not too crazy to assume that he's not a dual threat tight end because he wasn't with the team. But they also signed linebacker Riley Wilson, and this is another room that we can get into that does not have a lot of depth. Um, Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's more depth in the tight end room, but we don't really know who's going to emerge from that room. Now, while I don't think Riley Wilson's going to make the team, he he has a shot because we don't know who that third linebacker is going to be.
Yeah. It's it is a tough one. I talked about it today on TikTok for that third linebacker spot. Um, and although I think Wilson might be more of an outside linebacker type of guy, and that could be an edge. With Landry not being out there, and who knows what's going on with Gabe Akis. He might even be a guy who can kind of play both. But as for that inside linebacker three type of spot, I think I would have it going to KJ Britt. I would say I think that makes the most sense to me. I think the fun part or the not so fun part, however you want to frame it, comes down to linebacker four.
Yes.
That's where you really get to the nitty gritty. I would probably have that early on going to Namdi Obiazor, just as a guy who was drafted sixth round. But you know, I think they like Khalil Jacobs a lot. They had him in on a 30 visit. Maybe he's a guy who can make a push. Maybe Chad Muma can make a push. He played in the Patriots' last handful of games. He played in the Super Bowl. So there are a lot of solid options there. I don't know that there are any great options, and I think that is also something we're going to have to see during the preseason. And it's also going to be a matter of who can play special teams, which Muma has experience doing. But again, yeah, I would have my eye more so on that linebacker four spot because I think that Britt is probably looking pretty good, at least for now, to be the linebacker three. But things could change. I mean, for all I know, he could end up off the roster.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I like KJ Britt. I like what I saw from him last year against the Patriots, but that linebacker four spot is definitely up in the air. I would say, and you were there. I don't know if you can say this or not because they don't let you say everything from minicamp, but or and OTAs. But did Chad Muma played more than the rookies, right?
I would have to go back and see. I'm actually not sure. We weren't typically on, well, I guess it depended on the day, but I mostly had my eyes on the ones.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
I would have to check. My guess would be yes, but that's
Yeah,
kind of just a gut feeling.
I
And
saw
that's
reported that he was playing more.
yeah, but that's a lot of that is also
Veteran.
minicamp OTAs are for rookies to, get their feet under themselves and for veterans to take a lot of those reps. So I don't know that I would look too far into that. Now, if we're a week, 2 weeks into, probably closer to 2 weeks into training camp, if we're at that like August 7th area, you know, and Muma is still taking a majority of the reps, then I think at that point I would maybe look a little bit more into it. But that beginning of, or that springtime and then first few days of training camp, I think that is going to be a little bit more. It's going to work more kindly for the veterans. They're going to get
Yeah.
more reps.
Hmm. And Chad Muma is the only one with NFL experience, obviously, because he's the only non-rookie out of those guys that you, Namdi and Khalil Jacobs, that you detailed earlier. But yeah, I really liked just watching some Twitter clips today. I really liked the athleticism from Khalil Jacobs. Very athletic. I didn't realize
Yep.
how athletic he was. He's
Yep.
not as big as Namdi, who's more of a
Hmm.
versatile type of guy. Big, he can stop the run and the pass at an average level, I would say. Because once again, this guy's not blowing you away as a sixth round pick, and Jacobs is an undrafted free agent. But I really liked Jacobs and both these guys' instincts. I thought Jacobs, one time I was, well, one of the two clips that I watched, and once again, these are highlights on Twitter from 4 years of football. But he's creeping towards the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped and immediately recognizes, I don't remember what the play was, but it recognizes the play and stops it for a loss or he gets a sack. So I like the instincts and I like the athleticism from Jacobs, and Obiezer was drafted. So I think those two guys have just as good of a shot to make it, if not a better shot than Chad Muma. But as of right now, Chad Muma is probably the fourth guy. If you had to make your 53-man roster projection today, you'd probably say Muma is the guy. But as we inch towards training camp, I bet that will change.
I'd probably agree there.
Yep. All right, let's move on to cornerback. Um, this is a position where the top three are solidified. You have All Pro Christian Gonzalez. You have All Pro Marcus Jones, not for being a cornerback, but he was an All Pro last year. And then you have Carlton Davis, who's another great player. But that fourth cornerback spot is up for grabs. You had Charles Woods last year occupy that role. The year before that, you had Marcellus Dial. You drafted a rookie in the fifth round in Karan Prunty. Prunty?
Prunty. Yep.
Prunty. And you have Kindle Vildor, who you signed in free agency. So out of those four guys, how would you rank them in terms of number one being this guy's, I think this guy's going to be the cornerback four, to number four being probably not?
It's a good question. I would probably go Woods at number one. I think Woods number one, pretty close behind him. I would probably go Prunty, and then I'd say there's a bit of a gap for Dial, and then probably Vildor would be my last. Um, Now Woods again, like you said, he was that number four last year. And that's kind of just why I have it like that for now. Prunty, I don't know that you want to bank on a fifth round pick being your, especially a guy who a lot of people think they reached on, um, being your top option, especially with Carlton Davis, he gets banged up a decent amount. Um, so I would probably be more comfortable with Woods in that position. And then Dial, I we'll see what happens in terms of his athleticism after the ACL tear. He didn't really participate in the spring. He was out there, but he couldn't be in full team drills. He would just work off to the side. He, I think, still has a decent chance just because he has that special teams experience. And when you're looking at the back end of the roster, that is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, that's not something to scoff at. You need special teamers because that's that's a huge
How
part of
the
the
NFL
game,
works.
and that's how those back end of the roster guys make it. So Dial could definitely jump somebody there, and then Vildor, I think he's fine. I just don't. I don't know if there's anything about him that would make me put him above those other guys. Like Woods, I can look at and say he was the cornerback four last year. Prunty, I can look at and say he was a fifth round pick, and he also looked pretty solid in the spring. Dial, I can say that he is a good athlete, assuming that the ACL tear doesn't do too much to him, and he has a lot of special teams experience. I really don't know what I could say about Vildor that would kind of set him apart from those other guys.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And also, I know you mentioned Dial's athleticism, but to me, Dial and Woods are very similar guys, especially in their makeup, probably about the same height, probably about the same weight. But Woods was a good teamer last year. He played opposite Brendan Schooler, which was Dial's role in 2024. And when Woods had to play, um, whenever Carlton Davis went down with an injury, he was good. I thought he was solid. And we've never seen Marcellus Dial be a solid cornerback in the NFL. I think he played significant snaps in one game last year or 2 years ago, which was against the Bills when Mitch Trubisky was playing. So, and we saw Woods playing some high leverage situations in real NFL games with a good football team and not in a meaningless week 18 game. So I think that gives Woods the inside track. And I don't think Dial has, unless Woods gets hurt, I think Dial, like you said, is the third option. I don't really think he has a shot. Neither, I don't think Vildor has a shot either, but he did impress in the spring. There are a lot of reports about that. And then Prunty, he has good size, which sets him apart. And he was the fifth round pick. Like you said, they reached on him. So I don't know. I could definitely see him not making the roster. But at cornerback, it could be Woods and Prunty that make the team because you never know if they want to keep five. Last year they kept four for most of the year, but because they had DJ James, but they cut him after week one. Man, DJ James was going to be special, but I don't know why they cut him. He had a really good we're getting sidetracked. But and then also you got to throw. Well, I don't think Channing Canada and or Brandon Crossley have much of a shot to make this team. As much as I do love Brandon Crossley, he's not going to make the team.
Yeah, probably not. Probably
Yeah,
not.
unfortunately. But Channing Canada, don't know much about him. I think he's another. He might be an. Actually, I don't even know anything about him. All I know is he went to TCU. So, but yeah,
That's about all I could tell you as well.
yeah.
So
Well, maybe he'll impress. Maybe he'll be the next DJ James.
could be, could
Yeah,
be get cut after week 1 and
yeah. Hey,
have
but he's
Theo
made the
talking
team.
about him on a podcast a year later.
Exactly. What are your thoughts on Mikey Victor?
I, that was one of the cornerbacks of all time, I would say. I don't know that I had a whole lot of thoughts on
Mikey
Mikey Victor.
Mikey
I'm sorry.
Victor was a guy that if he came back in 2025, he would have made the roster. I really think. I mean, probably not, but he's a big physical cornerback. He almost had that interception against Carolina. Should have counted. Didn't hit the ground. But I don't know. I liked Mikey Victor, so shout him out, I guess. Probably wasn't
Yeah,
going to make the
had some
roster, but
moments.
yeah, he signed with the Steelers last year. I think to their
Did he?
practice squad.
Really?
So
Wonder. Well, I'll see if he's stuck around anywhere.
I don't think so. I think he got cut. Who are some of your favorite Patriots training camp legends? While you look it up, I can name a few of mine. So we got Mikey Victor, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see, who else do we have? Oh, Johnny Lumpkin, 2023.
Mm.
Ed Lee, of course,
Yep. Yep.
infamous. Let's see. Yeah, Mikey Victor's probably the number one guy. But Del Pettis was, but he made the team, so that doesn't count.
Yeah. I cannot tell if. No, it looks like his Twitter bio says former NFL player. So, yeah, bad news. Unless his ESPN player profile says that he's on the Steelers, though. So
Okay.
honestly, I have no. Oh no! When you click on it, he's not. All right,
Oh
Mikey
man.
Victor's retired, unfortunately.
Well,
Um,
he had a
I'll
great career.
I'll always, yeah, legendary. Canton
Hmm.
bound. I'll always have a special place in my heart for Austin Carr. I think that was the first guy that just like that I remember
Hmm.
like stud in the preseason and then being convinced he was going to make the roster. Didn't. I think he went to New Orleans and probably never did anything there.
Hmm.
But Austin Carr was a fun one. I feel like that's my
What
one.
year was he? He was
I don't know. It might have been like 2013. I might be way off there. Let's see. I might be like very far off there. No, there's also an NBA player named Austin Carr,
okay.
so that doesn't help.
I gotta make sure. I'm not exactly. I'm picturing
Oh, I was way
someone.
off. Yeah, 2018.
Okay, I was
2018.
gonna say 2017, 2018,
Yeah, I
but
was
I'm
not
not
even
exactly
close, and
sure.
that's fully on me. Oh, 2017. His page is all sorts of
Yeah, okay, here. Yeah, I
messed
wasn't
up
really.
here. It looks like
Fortunately, I was not
2017.
watching. I was not watching Patriots preseason in 2017. That is unfortunate. I would
It's all
probably would have
right.
loved Austin Carr.
9
Probably.
receptions for 97 yards
Oh yeah.
in the 2018 regular season with the Saints after he was
Okay.
cut by the Patriots. I don't know if I can find his preseason stats, but if I can, you'd know. Baller.
Yeah.
I'm
Remember
gonna have
Jaquay
to try to
Jackson?
find those now.
Jaquay Jackson.
Oh, a little bit. Like, not much, to be honest, but, like, it's
He
a
was the
good
guy.
name. It's such a good name.
Yeah, he was the guy that caught Joe Milton's touchdown, I think. I want to say it was him.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he did.
Yeah. And then there was another guy that I can't remember the name of that got hurt in that game, I think. It could have been Jaquay, but
No, I know who you're talking about. I completely forget who it was. Maybe it was
I'll just
Chick.
look at the
No,
game.
I don't know. Austin Carr in 2017 in his 4 preseason 4 preseason games, caught 14 passes for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a guy that should make the team.
Baller.
Mm-hmm.
Baller.
All right, let's look at.
According to his Wikipedia, despite a strong training camp in preseason, Carr was waived by the Patriots on September 2nd.
Well, that's what happens when you have a
On but
good team,
never
unfortunately.
forgotten.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
that
guy did not have a catch
2017 roster.
in this game.
We're
Oh,
so
remember
off
Jonathan
topic
Russell?
now.
Okay.
Who?
Jonathan Russell? He was the international pathway
Oh
player.
yeah, the former rugby player.
Yeah, now he was on Love Island
Didn't
last
he?
year.
Didn't he go on Love Island? Yeah.
Yeah. Love
Wow.
Island, Australia. I saw his Instagram. I was shocked. Wow, I was not expecting that. But I think I saw him
Yeah.
at dinner once. His mom follows me on Instagram.
Nice. Thank you, Jotham Russell.
Yes. What a legend.
That's
God,
awesome.
the 91st
That's
man
awesome.
on the roster. The
Yeah,
91st. What a legend.
I love gotta love the international pathway program. Just getting an extra body in for
Mhm.
camp.
Don't they? The Patriots have one this year, right?
Yeah, I actually
Who is it? I'll look
don't
it up.
know who it is, but I know they have one because I know
Yeah,
that
it's
their
like
roster is. Yeah.
Let's see, Patriots.
It's probably something I should know,
Maybe. If we don't know it
but
together, then it's okay. Patriots International Pathway player. All right, here it is.
yeah,
Who is?
it's
Oh,
good.
Lawrence Metz.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
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 that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
He's
good.
yeah.
How
Lawrence.
did we get here? How did we get from?
Mikey Victor. That's
Yeah,
how we got there. Because I brought him up.
happens, happens.
Happens. All right. If we want to get back on track, you want to do a 53-man roster projection real quick?
Wow, this is gonna be tough, but I'm down to do it. Yeah, let's
Way
go.
too early. All right. Do we know how I'm
Okay.
supposed to share my screen? If I can't, it's okay. I don't know how to share my screen. This is bad. Oh, found
It's
it
at
right
the
here.
bottom.
Says it right there at the bottom.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on one second. No, this is not good. All right. But Mikey Victor, what a guy.
Can we
I
get
got
Mikey Victor on the 53-man roster projection?
I think so.
Little come out of retirement and be the cornerback for this Patriot team.
That would be awesome. Oh, I can select a tab to share. Okay. I'm gonna do that real quick. Let me get the tab open though. This is crazy. Sorry about this. This is terrible radio.
No, you're good.
Okay. Now
Hey,
we're
it
back.
happens. I should be filling the air a little bit more than I was, so
Are
I'll
we here?
take some
Can you
blame
see?
for that. Oh, this is fun. I've never seen this.
Yes, patspicker.com. Shout it out. Okay. So here we go. Hopefully you can hear me and hopefully we can see this.
Yes,
Um,
we are.
we have Drake May and Tommy DeVito. Is Baron Morton making the roster?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
easy.
Running backs. And I guess fullback too. I don't know where Richie Gilliam's right here. And they did not update
Yeah.
this because Brock Lampy got cut.
Brock Lampy no longer a Patriot. Yeah, it says. Well, it does say roster last updated today, but that's not true.
That's not
Up top. But besides the point, I think for now I still have Jennings, and I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong that you're a Lan Larison truther,
It's true.
but yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I am a Terrell Jennings until Lan Larison proves me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really do. I mean, you can't. I guess it's tough to say because Jennings didn't really show much either in the spring, and you can't as a running back. Like it's a passing camp, but I think Jennings for now is the guy. And
Okay.
but that's a spot that could easily be dethroned, especially with Jennings likely not going to be out there at the beginning of
Yeah.
camp.
He's on the NFI list. That's actually funny because when I was doing the pod with Mike Reese, I was talking about all the options. I mentioned Lan Larison, I mentioned Jam Miller, I mentioned Miles Montgomery, and he said, "Don't forget about Terrell Jennings."
Mm.
Terrell Jennings, one of my favorite. I said that on this podcast, this very podcast, 2 years ago. I said that Terrell Jennings was going to be the next great Patriots running back. So we'll see about that. But we'll have Terrell Jennings on the roster, and then CJ Dupree. I think we just got to put Tanner Arkin. We kind of had this conversation earlier
I'd
because
say
CJ
so,
Dupree's
yeah.
hurt. We could also take some guys off if we're overcrowded here. And here we have not talked about wide receivers outside of Jalen Polk and KJ Osborne, but the Patriots have a few of them. So AJ Brown, Romeo Doubs are locks. Mac Hollins, I wouldn't say he's a lock, but he's going to make the team. Kyla
Mm.
Williams is a lock. Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, and I'll put Efton Chisholm up here for now, are certainly not locks. So you can't keep seven. I guess you could, but if we're not keeping seven, which of these guys are we getting rid of?
So it's really tough for me. And I was thinking about this one earlier because I thought that this could come up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think for now, obviously, if a trade emerges for Booty,
Mm-hmm.
then Booty's gone.
Yep.
But I don't think you can just cut him, and I don't really think that there are suitors out there for him, or else he would already be gone. Um, so for me, it's those bottom two guys. It's Demario Douglas for Efton Chisholm,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of, I don't know, I don't know that I love how that works out because it's kind of like either you keep both of those guys and get rid of Booty, or even though those aren't like the same roles at all, Booty and those two, but um again, for me, it's Douglas versus Chisholm until someone trades for Booty.
Mm-hmm.
And I, if I had to make a choice today, I think it's Douglas. But if I have to make, I think it's going to end up being Chisholm. I think that Chisholm is going to take that spot. Um, I, I think he probably gives you a little bit more in the run game. I think he definitely gives you more as a special teamer, and that's kind of why I emphasized it a lot earlier. This wide receiver six position, you're expecting your wide receiver six to play special teams. You
Yes.
know,
Pop is not doing that.
Demario Douglas isn't going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when it comes down to that, I think Pop is a very elusive player, a very skilled player, but I think Chisholm is a bit more savvy and probably has some more of the kind of technical things going for him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it it's such a tight race, and the reason why I have it as Pop for now, even though I think that'll change, I Pop is, I would say, the guy with the best connection with Drake, and that's not something that
Really?
can be just put aside. I mean, especially before AJ Brown came to town, right, in those May OTAs, Pop Douglas, it felt like he was the wide receiver one by a mile. And that wasn't the reality of the situation. And a lot of that is because the pads weren't on. And they're honestly just about every year, Pop Douglas looks great when the pads are off. And then when the pads come on, he certainly takes a step back. But there is very good chemistry between Drake May and Demario Douglas. And I think that that's not something that can just be put aside. That's a real thing that's very important between your quarterback and your wide receiver. But again, when you're looking at it like this is the last guy in the room, I think I would rather have the upside as a special teams player and a blocker and the technical savvy in Efton Chisholm than I would the has a connection with Drake in Demario Douglas. But I mean, what do you think? Because it's close. It is very close.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think Chisholm is the guy that'll end up being the one that makes the roster, but I kind of disagree on the Demario Douglas Drake May connection thing. I feel like we've seen Drake overthrow Demario enough times where it's like I don't know if he can play with a 5'8" receiver. I think when you're looking
That's
at some of
fair.
the draft
That's fair.
stuff from this year, there was who was the five? There was someone that was short, shifty. It wasn't I can't remember the guy's name now. The Browns receiver. Um, not
Completely
Denzel Washington.
blanking on it as well, but yeah, I
Yeah,
know who you're talking about.
but
But
um, and he was 6 feet tall. But I don't know. I just don't think when you look at guys, Drake May can overthrow Mac Hollins and he'll go up and get it. And we saw that specifically in the Ravens game a few times. He went up, he got some balls, and then he actually, what did he do? He lacked. What, I'm not going to try to pronounce what his injury was. But
labral tear, or I think so.
maybe, yeah, sure. I thought
I
it was
might be
something
wrong.
else. I thought it was something else, but
It might have been.
it
Oh
was a
no, no, no. Yeah,
spring.
no, it was not a labral tear. I don't know what I'm talking about. It was yeah, it was something weird.
Yeah.
I was
But yeah,
completely off.
yeah, and Chisholm, great camp. Every time he's been on the field, aside from throwing the football to Drake May in the wild card game, he's been an above average player. So I'm gonna cut Demario Douglas, or maybe you'll trade him for a pick swap. But no consideration for any of the UDFA's. Personally, I love Nick DeGennaro. Um, nice guy. Kyle Dixon seems like a guy that in past years would have made the roster, but this year there's AJ Brown, there's Romeo Dobbs, so he's not going to make the team. Jimmy Kibble, another nice guy, but probably not going to make the team. And then Cameron Dorner, he probably has the best chance to make the team outside of maybe Kyle Dixon, but I don't know, probably not going to make the team either. And got to show some love to Jeremiah Webb, but he's not making the team. All right, we'll go to center. Yeah, probably not. Probably not, but there's a chance. Uh, he had that touchdown against the Giants. Jared Wilson, Ben Brown are both making the team. I really don't think there's a argument there. Where is oh, there he is, John Darius Morgan. He's more of a guard. I don't know why they have him listed at tackle. But do you think they'll just keep these four interior guys, or you think they add a fifth?
No, they'll add a fifth. I think they'll add one more interior. Interior, they'll add one more exterior, and I think that interior is especially important because who knows what's going to happen with Elijah Vera Tucker, right? So Ben Brown, if I'm actually doing a roster prediction today, I don't think I have Ben Brown listed as a center. Oh, you can't. You can move
Wow,
him.
I didn't know you could do
Oh,
that. Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that. I was hoping you'd be able to. I
Mhm.
didn't think you would. I think I would have Ben Brown as that backup guard, and I think I would probably have Jacob Rizzi as the backup
Okay.
center.
Oh,
He has that center guard flexibility. He played, I believe, more guard in college than he did center, but I know that, or at least I would expect him to be more of a center in the NFL, especially for the Patriots. And I think they probably want Ben Brown to have some. They want Ben Brown as insurance for Elijah Vera Tucker, I would expect. So I think that's how the interior goes. I mean, Rupsich did take a lot of reps during the spring, but I don't think that you really get that center guard flexibility with him, and that's invaluable when you're talking about these guys, especially with the injury history of Elijah Vera Tucker and Jared Wilson missed some games last year, and
Yeah, he did.
um, so yeah, I would probably have it cut like that for now.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think John Darius Morgan has a shot at the roster. Probably not Makai Butler. Like you said, Rupsich got a lot of playing time in the spring, but this could just be a vet. He is a veteran, right? I believe he is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Definitely not a rookie. So, and then
Yep.
at tackle, Campbell, Moses, Lomu, and I have Crown over
Hmm.
because of the upside, the size. This is a guy that could potentially be your long-term answer at swing tackle. And if I had to choose a fifth, which probably not gonna, because you're not gonna keep, maybe you'll keep 10 offensive linemen. But if I had to choose a fifth, I'd lean James Hudson, although he's not the greatest player of all time, although he did get four straight penalties last year. He's going to provide some veteran presence to that room alongside Morgan Moses. I almost said Will Campbell, alongside Morgan Moses. But if I had to choose out of these five guys, I would probably, or four guys, I would probably take Hudson.
Yeah, I actually for me, that fourth tackle is between Crownover and Marcus Bryant.
Yep.
Um,
Oh yeah.
Bryant can play both sides, and again, that is invaluable as especially with Morgan Moses. I mean, I kind of just said it with Elijah Vera Tucker injury history. Moses doesn't really have the injury history, but he's he's not young, and that's putting it kindly. So, and Will Campbell is also banged up last year. So I think you kind of need a guy who you know can play both sides. Marcus Bryant, he did that in the spring. He played both sides in the spring. I would assume that we'll see him continue to do so during camp. Crownover probably can do that, but do you want a rookie there when there's a real chance that they're going to have to play games also, like play in games? Um,
Yeah. Huh.
it's close. I think I for now lean Bryant over Crown over, but I'm fine with keeping Crown. I mean, you've given me like the last five, so we'll
Yeah.
keep Crown over there.
All right.
But
I like that. I question a little bit how much they like Marcus Bryant. He was inactive for almost every game last year, and they signed Thayer Munford mid-year.
mm,
Um, so I don't know how much they like him. I kind of think Crownover is going to have a similar year though, just a redshirt freshman year. But so maybe you do keep a Marcus Bryant on the roster just so you can redshirt Crownover. But we also have to remember Caleb Lomu is going to be the guy who comes in either spot if Moses or Campbell gets injured. So as of right now, and until one of those guys gets hurt, which hopefully does not happen, it's just Caleb Lomo at the backup spot. So,
that's true.
all right, we'll keep Crown over and we'll move to defense. So we've kept 42 players, but there are people kept on defense. So, yeah. Okay. So, start here. Isaiah Aiton is
This is
not
tough.
a defensive end, that's for sure. He's more of a defense. He's a big guy. Uh, all right. So, do we keep Quintavious Hutchins? I I don't see
No.
too much upside. Also, having a legal situation isn't helping him. So yeah, I agree. No. And we definitely got to keep a few guys here. So defensive tackle, I wonder how many guys make it here. You got Corey Durden has a shot. He's probably going to make the
Yep.
team. Josh
Yep.
Farmer, probably going to make the team. Leonard Taylor got a shot. Eric Gregory got a shot. I like David Blay, but probably doesn't have a shot. Well, definitely has a shot, but probably not going to make the team. Eric Gregory, I don't know if I said him already. He has a shot. And then Jeremiah Farms and Isaiah Aiton probably not going to make the team. But we'll keep Durgan because that's for sure. Farmer will keep. And then is this just your four, or do you want to keep one more?
I think this is a spot that we come back to at the
Mhm.
end because if we have an extra space, I think Leonard Taylor is probably the first guy that we would want to bring back. Um, so yeah, I think this is a spot where we come back at the end.
Yeah, I agree. Leonard Taylor, one of two current Patriots that follow me on Instagram. The other is Jimmy Kibble.
Nice. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So I missed the linebacker. So you said Britt, and then the fourth spot. Did they not have Khalil Jacobs? Oh, he's right here. The fourth spot. I don't know. We talked about this. You said Namdi. Um,
Yeah,
let's
and
go Namdi.
it's close. Yeah, Namdi, Muma, they're
Mm-hmm.
you know, they,
Namdi.
it's end of roster inside linebacker. Like it's a close one. I think Muma again has that special teams upside, but Namdi still probably can do that. So as a guy that they drafted this year, I would give him the slight edge for now.
Yeah, Namdi took 53 special team snaps last year, so he has a little bit of experience, but not too much.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll say for sure. I think Elijah Ponder's a
Ponder,
roster lock.
he is.
And then I'd say out of the rest of these guys, Holmes has a shot, Lucetta has a
Yep.
shot, but I think I'd go Braden Swinson if we had to keep another.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I just don't know that we've seen anything out of Swinson, and I
Oh,
like him a
yeah.
lot, but when's it gonna click? When's it gonna click? I don't think it has yet. I don't know that it will. Where like I might lean a Jesse Luketa or even in Xavier Holmes. And this might be, yeah, like I think probably out of those three, Swinson might be my last one there. I'd love him back on the practice squad if possible, but um we just haven't seen anything out of him yet. And that's the tough part. I would probably slightly lean to Luketa.
Yeah, so last year when I was doing my roster projections, I was probably the only person to not have Braden Swinson on my roster. Maybe not the only person, but I felt like one of the only people. And I thought that when he was cut, a lot of people were saying, wow, this is crazy. But I thought the same thing as you. Like, this guy has not done a single thing all summer long. So why are we putting him on the
Yep.
roster? However,
Yeah.
Vrabel praised him. They talked about the discipline stuff. So I I lean towards him. I think that this is another spot where we come back to it.
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe
fair.
we'll keep going because what are we at? We're at 47. So
We
we'll
have
probably have a shot for
plenty
maybe
of
Lucetta.
space.
But
Yeah.
we got to keep that fourth and fifth cornerback spot right here. We were just talking about it. We're keeping Woods, but do we keep a fifth? I think we have enough spots left to determine this right now.
I'd say we pretty easily do. I would go Prunty. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, simple as that. I mean, what we still have four. How many extra spots do we have?
We
Yeah,
have
we
four.
still have four spots. We're
Mhm.
more than okay.
Yep.
Um, Mike Brown is a roster lock. He should be
Hmm.
above Del Pettis. As much as I like Del Pettis, I don't know that Pettis is a lock to make the roster. I
Yeah.
think he'll be probably one of the last guys on or one of the last guys off.
Hmm.
Um, just with it depends on how they see Schooler. I guess he's probably not going to play much at safety, but
Hmm.
if he's safety number 4, like that might be okay. If he's safety number 5, that definitely is okay.
Hmm.
But to the point of Mike Brown, he was repping in as their third safety consistently. He was their top personal protector in the punt game
Hmm.
during the spring. He's making the roster. Pettis has that special teams pedigree, so I'd probably also have Pettis making it, but for Mike Brown to be below him in this I would not. Yeah, let's. I forgot
Yeah.
that you can just do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have Mike Brown as a lock to make it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I am the biggest Del Pettis fan in the world. I have his jersey sitting 3 feet away from me, but in an article that I wrote a few days ago, I had 5 guys that I think could make the roster. Mike Brown is, you said he's a roster lock, but he was on that list. But I had Mike Brown and Peter Manuma as guys that I think could potentially make the team. And I don't think, I wouldn't put him on the 53-man roster projection as of now, but he's a guy that could jump Del Pettis. And if he makes it, there's no shot Pettis makes it. So,
Yep,
and obviously, these
I
two
would
guys are
agree.
set in stone, Byard and
Yep,
Woodson. And then,
yep,
yeah. All right, and then special teams, we'll keep that. No
easy
need for
enough.
anything there. Maybe Bryce Behringer, they bring in someone. Um, I would like to see them bring in another guy. It would be the third guy. They brought in Mitch McCarthy, the punter from Indiana,
Hmm.
and then they brought in another guy. I don't remember his
Yep.
name. And
Yeah, I've forgotten it at this point, but yeah, I mean McCarthy was just for rookie mini camp.
yeah,
The other guy whose name I'm blanking on was he mandatory minicamp? I believe he was. Yeah, he was mandatory minicamp. So I think it's kind of just doing their due diligence,
hmm,
having guys available like they always do. That's why they'll bring in a bunch of guys throughout the year for workouts or whatever. Where if things go wrong, they know like, oh, this is a guy who could end up playing for us, could be okay. I do agree with you though. I would love for them to bring in competition for Bryce Behringer. Um, Quite simply, I don't think he was good enough last year to justify having no competition. If you want to say that, he should still make the roster, I think that's fair to say. But for him to have absolutely nobody competing with him, I don't like that.
hmm,
Um, but at this point, I don't see them adding someone there. I think that the special teams unit is probably kind of set in stone heading into camp.
yeah. This is not important at all. But would we say that Bryce Baringer, however you want to pronounce his last name, I say Baringer, is one of the not the I would say is Bryce Baringer the pick overlooked as one of the worst draft picks that Belichick made towards the end of his tenure? Because obviously he was a sixth or seventh round draft pick. I don't remember. But drafting a punter is never good, especially a bad one. And I guess he's been on the team for 4 years, but still, you drafted a bad punter. In You can just like Mitch McCarthy, a guy that was brought in for rookie minicamp, could have taken his spot. So I don't know. I think that's a pretty bad pick.
I don't know that that's entirely fair to say. Like it's a late round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, Beringer was good his first 2 years in the league, very good his first 2 years in the league. So I don't know that I would go that far as to say that. Um, I see what you're saying. Like I get it. He definitely has had his ups and downs, and I wasn't a fan of him last year.
Yeah.
Quite simply, but I mean, if you even want to look in that same draft class, like he, Chad Ryland was a fourth round pick, and I love Chad. I love Chad Ryland.
Yep.
And he's doing good for the Cardinals now.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of the reason why he was so bad with the Patriots was that they kind of tried to change his mechanics, and then obviously the mental aspect of it, and XYZ. But if we want to talk about bad draft picks, how about the guy drafted 2 rounds earlier at a similar position who was
Yeah.
off the team within a year or
Hmm.
2 years um because he couldn't hit more than 60% of his field goals.
Hmm. Yeah. No, definitely a worse pick. But I think a kicker is definitely more valuable, but still a much worse pick because he was off the team. But also, if we want to look at that draft class, Keon White, terrible pick. That was a really bad pick, and people don't recognize that. They were going to take him with the 17th pick or the 14th pick if Gonzalez wasn't on the board. Belichick said that or something. There's an article or a report about that, which
Mm-hmm.
is awful because his best season was 5 sacks where he had three in one game, the first game of the season. So that was a bad pick. Marte Mapu he'll give you an interception a year, but he got traded for a seventh round pick. He was the third round pick. And I guess that's,
He didn't get an interception. He got a Josh Allen arm punt. Let's get it right.
yeah, okay. A Josh Allen arm punt, a Tua interception, and a Patrick Mahomes interception.
I
It's
mean, that's
pretty,
not a bad group.
no, not a bad group, but every year he'd get a nice interception. Um, yeah, that Tua interception was very crucial to that game against Miami last year, but probably the worst quarterback that he intercepted. Yeah. So, but I
Yeah,
just wanted to
that's
point out, drafted punter, drafted kicker, drafted long snapper. How many teams can say that?
undrafted Brendan Schooler,
Undrafted Brandon
probably
School.
the best of the bunch.
Yeah, I would
Um,
not even probably.
yeah, not even close. The best of the bunch.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. I would say that the Patriots are probably the only team because how many teams are drafting a long snapper?
Right.
That immediately I would say eliminates 90% of teams in the league saying that New England has a long snapper that they drafted. But that's an interesting one.
I think that's going to be my Instagram post tomorrow. How
I'll
many
have to
teams?
go go through it.
Yeah,
Find out.
I'll do some research after this podcast. All right,
There we
so
go.
now we can move back. We're at 50, so we got three players to work with. So I think we're just going to add Lenny T. All right, so let's add Leonard Taylor. And then maybe, well, no, we don't want to add anyone. Oh, here was where we're going to add. So you want to go Lucetta?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Maybe
Yeah,
that'll,
I would say so.
hmm maybe that'll
The
shake out a little
question is,
differently.
where do you add another? Offense, we're pretty good, right?
Yeah, let's just take a look. Oh, you don't want another running back. Tight end's pretty good. Wide receiver, maybe you could keep Demario Douglas. Probably not. Oh, we could add another tackle. We could add Marcus Brown.
Yeah. It feels redundant though, and I think that's a guy that you can get on the practice squad.
Probably. So what guys can you not get on the practice squad? Hutchins, you
Like
probably could.
I actually don't hate the idea of Pop here, just because you
Okay.
have the space. I think for me, it's between Pop. See, the ideally you want to add at a position where you're a little bit thin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but kind of all the positions I'm looking at aren't those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say Pop, Eric Gregory, Xavier Holmes, or maybe Chad Muma,
Right.
which
Yeah.
that's
The
a
five
position you're a
linebackers.
little bit thinner at.
Five linebackers feels like a lot.
Five linebackers does feel like a lot.
I wonder if you just, yeah, like an edge rusher you could probably go for. Maybe you add a corner. No, we kept five. There's no way they would.
Kept five.
Yeah, so maybe we go with, I don't know, 52-man roster and we just called it a. I think Pop is not the worst idea. Maybe like a,
I don't hate it. I
yeah, I
really
think we
don't
do
hate
it.
it.
7 receivers.
Hey, they kept seven on the initial roster
They kept
last
not,
year.
I think they kept 8 on the initial roster last year.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
crazy.
they got rid of like three of them within 24 hours, but
Yeah, they kept Baker, I think, right?
initially,
Yeah, Javon made the team.
yeah,
That's
Polk
crazy.
made it initially.
Well,
Kendrick
Polk
Bourne
was
made
just
it
on injured
initially.
reserve for the whole year.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But
Well,
it was
still,
Bourne and Baker that they got rid of, I think. And then they got it down to
yeah,
6. So Chisholm,
yeah.
yep. I almost said
So
KJ Osborne. But I think that's our 53-man roster. Posted on Twitter, but here it is.
I
Boom.
don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I think it's the best 53-man roster that we could have picked. All right, let's unshare my screen. How do I do that? I don't know.
Probably
Uh,
still at the bottom of the screen would be my guess.
probably still. There we
There
go.
we go.
Stop.
There we
All
go.
right. That was our 53-man roster projection. And any final thoughts that we have before we wrap this one up?
I think we killed it. I think we killed it.
I think we did,
Obviously, thanks for having me on. That
of
was a
course.
blast. Love talking ball.
Yep.
I gotta know because I know you brought it up last time, so I need to know.
Okay.
You told me last time that I was, or at least
Oh,
maybe I'm misremembering,
no, I
but I
remember
believe you
I know
told
what
me
it is.
last time that I was the most
Yeah.
had on guest. I don't know how to
Hmm.
phrase that, but
Yeah,
does
most
that still
frequent.
stand true? Most
So,
frequent
all right,
guest.
let's think about this because I was thinking about
Okay.
that while I was sharing my screen and doing this.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's either you or so yeah, I think yes because I just need to think of the
Yes.
times that you've been on. So it was
Yes.
the first one was after the Jets win. The second one was last year training camp. Wait,
Dude, I have no idea.
I want to say this is the fifth time.
This sounds right. It
And
sounds right.
Ethan was on before the draft, which made him tied with you. But now
Ooh,
so
that's my yep. So there's one thing that I'm better than Ethan at
yes, I think
being
so.
on Theo's show, being on the
There we
Patriots Real Time
being on the
podcast.
Patriots real time pod. Seeing that name in Sports Illustrated from him and from in I think Chad Graff wrote an article in Nesson or something like that could be wrong.
Really.
Sorry if I mis-
Chad Graff is athletic, but
so definitely not then. I don't know why I thought Chad Graff. Someone wrote an article for Nesson and I saw the name of my podcast in it and I
yeah.
was like, man, that's crazy because I came up with this name of the podcast randomly on a September day in 2023. It's like, what's the
Was
best?
it for like the Mike Reese show
Yeah, it was for that
that it
one.
was
On the
makes sense.
Patriots, on Theo Deasness's Patriots Real Time podcast. It's like, wow, man,
You
what a
made it. You
name.
made
What
it.
a thought. I spent 3 seconds thinking about that name. That's in articles. But yeah, so I
There
think
you
that'll
go.
do it. Zach, thanks for coming on the show. Have you on.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Maybe we'll have a mid-season episode when you're.
Yeah, just next time you have Ethan on, you need to have me
Yeah,
on right
I think
after
so.
so I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Maybe
you.
what if we did it at the same time, 3-person show? Haven't done one of those in.
Whatever it takes for me to win.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. I think when the Patriots Real Time podcast and we retire from doing this podcast, I think you'll win. So,
That's what I
all right.
love to hear.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll be back, or I'll be back with some training camp updates throughout the summer. So tune into that.